Unlock the miraculous, 7 divine secrets to manifest the supernatural blessings already yours. In the heart of a quaint English village, Sarah, a devoted single mother, clutched a tattered prayer book to her chest like a lifeline. Her son, Jacob, lay curled in bed, the shadows of illness darkening his sun-kissed youth. Despair crept like a fog, threatening to swallow her whole, but amidst it all, flickers of faith danced in her spirit. She would gather with her parishioners, under the watchful eyes of St. Jude, the patron saint of lost causes. Each whispered prayer was not just a plea, it was a warrior's cry against the looming darkness, a declaration that hope could still bloom. The dying embers of her son's laughter echoed in her mind, and every visit to the hospital steeped her in a bitter blend of love and anguish. She'd wrestle with mounting bills, paperweights on her soul, each one heavier than the last. But in these moments of crushing weight, Sarah sensed something extraordinary. The elderly priest, Father Ambrose, with his silver hair and wise eyes, had once shared a secret, a divine promise that hovered in the air like incense. Belief, dear Sarah, is like seeds in fertile soil. Tend to it and see the wonders unfold, he whispered, igniting a longing that conflicted with her well-worn skepticism. As Jacob's condition deteriorated, her circle of friends rallied around, hearts intertwined in desperate prayers. They organized a community-wide vigil at the ancient church, its stones steeped in centuries of devotion, walls echoing with the whispers of believers past. The evening unfurled into a sea of flickering candles, each flame a symbol of faith. A symphony of voices rose, mingling in a blessed chorus. Sarah felt warmth wash over her, a momentary escape from reality, yet hope felt like a tightrope walk above an abyss. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. But then, as the candles flickered and the last notes of prayer hung in the air, the doctor's words pierced through the sanctuary like a bitter wind. I'm afraid there's nothing more we can do, he had said. The ground felt unsteady beneath her feet, her fragile hope scattered like fallen leaves. But in that storm of despair, something irreversible happened. The hearts of her community surged in unity, the power of their faith igniting a fervent fire within. Miraculously, amidst the chaos, Jacob stirred. A stillness fell, and light cascaded through the ancient stained glass, illuminating a boy whose spirit had once been a faint ember. Sarah's heart raced, tears streaming down her cheeks, disbelief wrestled with awe. Whispers of divine intervention spilled from lips around her, igniting fervent discussions about miracles and meaning. Yet as joy engulfed the village, a new weight settled on Sarah's heart. This newfound faith came tethered with scrutiny. What did it mean to unlock the miraculous? With the fiery tale of Jacob's recovery dancing on everyone's lips, she knew the secrets of divine promise were yet to unfold. Would her faith withstand the weight of expectations? And as the village thrummed with new life, Sarah stood poised on the brink of profound transformation, questioning the greater mystery that lay ahead. The next morning, the sun spilled golden light across the village, illuminating the paths where hope had been rekindled. Sarah woke to the sound of birds singing a joyful symphony that seemed to echo her heart's yearning for peace. Beside her, Jacob lay sleeping, his breath steady and soft. Was this a miracle given? Or a fleeting moment she should guard with her life? She tiptoed to his bedside, her heart swelling with love and gratitude. Outside, whispers of the previous night's vigil filled the air. Neighbors exchanged stories, eyes sparkling with new fervor. Have you heard? One woman exclaimed, her voice rising with excitement. It's like the church has been given new life since Jacob started to stir. The word miracle floated on their lips, and every conversation brought the community closer. Still, a shadow lingered in Sarah's heart. Returning to the quaint church later that day, she paused at the threshold, enveloped in a sense of both awe and trepidation. The ancient stones seemed to pulse with vitality, spirits of the faithful echoed in the quiet corners, reminding her of the countless prayers they had uttered over the years. Father Ambrose, with his reassuring presence, beckoned her closer. "You look troubled, my child," he observed, a hint of concern clouding his wise eyes. I must admit, I'm overwhelmed," she confessed, wringing her hands. Jacob's recovery feels like a wonderful gift, yet it also feels like a test. What if it doesn't last? What if I lose him again? Father Ambrose smiled gently, placing a comforting hand on her shoulder. Faith, dear Sarah, is not about the absence of fear, but the presence of hope amidst it. You must believe, not only in miracles but in the strength God pours into you. His words resonated, embedding themselves in her spirit like precious seeds. That evening, Sarah began to pen her thoughts into her prayer book, her sanctuary. Each word felt like an incantation. Each line summoned peace as she documented her journey, her fears, and her unwavering hope. She wrote of how love had woven an unbreakable bond between her and Jacob, how an entire village had rallied around her, turning their anguish into collective strength. A new journey had begun, one where every moment pulsed with divine possibility, but then, in the stillness of her room, a thought struck her like lightning. What if this miracle was merely the beginning? What if others were chosen to manifest their own miracles? Sarah's heart raced, pulling her from the depth of her contemplations. The weight of expectation seemed to pivot, transforming into a mission, a calling. Would she be willing to step into that role? The next day would see a gathering different from the ones before. A community meeting stirred by whispers of hope. She would speak of belief and the innumerable blessings already theirs but hidden in plain sight. But as she closed her prayer book, uncertainty filed into her mind with a resolution that felt raw. How would she share her heart without giving in to doubt? How would she help them see what she was starting to understand? The mystery of tomorrow was tangible, a quiet beckoning. What new heights would faith take them to as they traversed this uncharted path together? Would they see their own miracles flourish, just as hers had? The world seemed poised on the edge of divine revelation, and she felt it in electrifying anticipation swirling in the air. Sarah took a deep breath, her heart whispering for courage. This was only the beginning. The bright morning unfolded, carrying with it an energy that felt almost sacred. As Sarah gathered herself for the community meeting, the weight of expectation pressed upon her shoulders like a mantle. Walking down the path, she inhaled the fresh scent of dew-kissed grass, each step echoing the rhythm of her racing heart. The village buzzed with enthusiasm, a gentle hum of voices stirring hope in the air. Arriving at the church, Sarah was enveloped by the eager faces gathered inside. They sat on wooden pews, their expressions a mix of anticipation and uncertainty. It was more than just a meeting, it was a call to worship, a chance to share their journeys, their struggles, and their dreams. She glanced around and felt the warmth of connection, a sense of being embraced by something greater than herself. "Look at all of you," she began, her voice trembling slightly at first. "You have come together in ways I could only have dreamed of. Yes, we have faced darkness, but in that darkness, we found strength. We witnessed a miracle." The room erupted in murmurs of agreement. Hope ignited like wildfire in their eyes. She took a deep breath and looked into the faces before her, each one telling a story, each a seeker of the divine. What if this is just the beginning? She posed, her curiosity intertwining with conviction. What if God is calling each of us to find our own miracles, to rise and embrace the extraordinary gifts already within us? Silence enveloped the room for a heartbeat, a moment of divine contemplation. Her heart quickened as she felt the Spirit stirring among them. Sometimes, we may overlook our blessings, think they are too small or insignificant, she continued, her voice gaining strength. Yet, these blessings are seeds. When nurtured, they can bloom into miraculous manifestations that change our lives and the lives of those around us. An elderly man in the back raised his hand, a wise look in his eyes. "How do we recognize these blessings, dear Sarah?" he asked earnestly. Sarah smiled, grateful for the question that echoed her own thoughts. "We start by opening our hearts. Through prayer and gratitude, we can begin to notice the little miracles, the friendships that sustain us, the laughter of children, even the beauty of the sunrise that greets us each day. These are all signs of God's grace." The atmosphere thickened with possibility as she encouraged them to reflect on their own stories. Across the room, an outpouring of voices filled the space. each one recounting their experiences of hope amidst trials, light cutting through the darkness. The collective sharing was a melody of faith, intertwining their lives, showing them how connected they were in their struggles and victories. When the noise quieted, Sarah looked upon the crowd with a warm heart. Let us not forget that with every miracle, there comes responsibility. We must be bearers of hope, encouraging one another to pursue our dreams and to seek out those miracles. Believe that each of you has a divine purpose. A low murmur rippled through the group as eyes brightened, hearts stirred by the promise of what lay ahead. As they ended the meeting with prayer, a sacred presence enveloped them. Sarah felt an inexplicable peace, a knowing that they were embarking on a new journey together, a journey of faith, of miracles, which would transform their lives. But just as she felt the surging joy of hope, another thought crossed her mind. What challenges awaited them on this divine path? How would they continue to nurture their faith in the face of obstacles? The questions lingered, teasing the edges of her spirit, and she couldn't shake the feeling that this was only the beginning of something much greater. The sun began to dip below the horizon, casting an orange hue that bathed the village in a gentle glow. The air cooled, and Sarah stood outside the church for a moment, allowing the reality of what they had shared to sink in. The echoes of gratitude and purpose still reverberated within her. Yet, the feeling of divine urgency nagged at her spirit. As members of the community filed out, some paused to clasp her hands, their eyes brimming with hope. A young woman stepped forward, tears shimmering like jewels in her eyes. "Thank you, Sarah," she said, voice quavering but resolute. "You opened my heart today. I see now how lost I had been." Sarah's heart swelled at the sight. Each interaction felt like a thread weaving them closer, binding their stories together into a tapestry of faith. Yet, beneath it all, a quiet question lingered: how would they carry this newfound understanding into the uncertainty of daily life? As night fell, Sarah gathered her thoughts, retreating to her small cottage. She lit a candle, its flickering light a reminder of hope's ever-present glow. Taking a seat at her table, she spread out a worn journal, filled with reflections, prayers, and dreams that had echoed in her heart for so long. Flipping through the pages, she paused at a simple line she had written some time ago: "What if every moment carries divine whispers?" It resonated with her now more than ever. How could they attune their hearts to these whispers in the world beyond the meeting? In the days that followed, Sarah sensed a shift within her community. The people began to embrace their small miracles with open arms. Smiles became more frequent, and laughter floated through the village like a soft melody. Yet, their resolve would soon be tested. One chilly morning, a thick fog rolled in, cloaking the village in uncertainty. A message arrived that left a chill in the air. A family, longtime residents, was facing trial. Their son had fallen ill, and the community's hearts gripped with concern. An invisible weight settled upon them, as if the very fog mirrored the darkness they felt creeping back in. This was their moment. Sarah gathered everyone at the church once more. The pews filled quickly, faces etched with worry. She stood before them, their eyes searching for answers. "We have shared our blessings," she began softly. "But we are now faced with a great challenge. Let us not forget the miracles we have witnessed and the hope we have ignited." As she spoke, her voice grew in strength, uplifting the hearts that felt burdened. Sometimes, darkness blinds our vision, but we must remember light shines brightest in shadows. She urged them to call upon their faith, to let their prayers soar like the morning larks, uniting in a chorus of love and strength. The room sparked with energy as voices joined together in prayer, an outpouring of heartfelt supplications. And for each shout of desperation, Sarah felt waves of warmth wash over her, a confirmation that the Spirit was among them, tending to the broken places. But as prayers continued, intertwining hope with worry, an unsettling thought crept into her mind. Could their prayers reach the heavens? Would their faith be strong enough to pierce through the weight of despair? As silence enveloped them, waiting for a miracle, she couldn't help but wonder, were they truly ready for what God had planned next? Would this be the moment of divine intervention they so earnestly sought? The stillness deepened, as if the very heavens were eager to respond, leaving Sarah's heart racing with anticipation. What awaited them in this storm was yet to be revealed, and she felt on the brink of something extraordinary. The fog hung thick and heavy, wrapping the village in a chill that seemed to seep into their very souls. Yet, Within the church, a warmth began to pulse, a gentle yet firm reminder of their shared faith. As Sarah stood before the congregation, the flicker of hope ignited like a beacon within their hearts. She could feel their energy shift, a collective exhale as they leaned into the promise of the divine. "Breathe with me," Sarah whispered, encouraging them to join her in a deep inhale. "Let us fill our lungs with the air of faith and exhale worry." The room shifted, tinged with expectation. They were both vulnerable and powerful, unified in their hope for a miracle. Listening to the prayers rise like incense, Sarah smiled softly. Each voice was unique, yet together they formed a tapestry of supplication. "Lord, we seek your comfort." One man cried out. "Heal our brother." Another woman pleaded, tears trailing down her cheeks. As she glanced around, Sarah noticed a little girl, clasping her doll, eyes wide and solemn. She was hunched forward as if the weight of the world rested on her small shoulders. The innocence of her faith moved Sarah profoundly. "What is your name, dear?" Sarah asked, approaching the girl. "Emily," she replied, a quiver in her voice. "I'm praying for my brother, too." "Emily, when we pray, something beautiful happens. Our voices, combined with love and trust, rise to the heavens like fragrant flowers," Sarah reassured her. She knelt down, their eyes meeting, and continued, "Do you feel how strong our prayers are together? God hears us, and He knows our hearts." Emily nodded, a small smile breaking through her worry. As the prayers continued, a sense of unity wrapped around them, holding them in an embrace that felt both protective and exhilarating. Yet, as the bubbling anticipation soared higher, another wave of concern washed over Sarah. What if the miracle didn't come? What if their faith faltered, faced with unimaginable despair? Just then, a sound broke through the air. The church bell chimed slowly and deliberately, its music ringing through the mist. Each toll resonated deep within her, a call to faith, a reminder of promises yet to be fulfilled. The congregation grew silent, intrigue shimmering in their eyes. Sarah raised her voice again, this time firm and commanding. "Let us not lose heart. Miracles often emerge from our most daunting trials." She paused for effect, letting her words settle, and continued, "Remember what is true, we are not in this alone. We stand together, and together we shall face what comes next." The atmosphere shifted again, the heaviness began to lift, replaced by the weight of hope. Faces that once wore the mask of worry now glowed beacons of light. Suddenly, the door creaked open, momentarily startling the congregation. A figure emerged through the mist, tall and silhouette-like against the fog. Gasps rippled through the church, eyes widening. "Is it him?" someone whispered, breathless. Sarah's heart raced as she stepped closer, ready for whatever revelation was about to unfold. Could the figure be a sign? Was this the moment they had been waiting for? A rush of anticipation enveloped her as her heart pounded. What did this mean? Would their faith manifest into something tangible? The figure took a step forward, and in that moment, the silence spoke volumes. What would they discover together in this breath held tight with faith? Would it lead them to the miracle they sought? The figure stepped into the dim light of the church, revealing a man dressed in a simple robe. His face was not unfamiliar, it was one of quiet strength and gentle resolve. Whispers rippled through the congregation, a soft chorus of wonder and disbelief. Sarah felt the tension in the air thicken, a tangible connection between fear and hope, pulling taut like a bowstring. "Who are you?" A voice broke through the silence, laced with uncertainty. The man raised his hands, palms open like an invitation to step closer to understanding. "I am here," he said softly, "to remind you that miracles rest within your reach." Each word fell like raindrops on thirsty soil, nourishing the spirits in the room. He scanned the faces of the congregation, meeting the gaze of Emily first. "Little one, you carry a love so big, it could heal the world. Do you believe it?" Emily's wide eyes sparkled with newfound wonder. She nodded slowly, the weight of her earlier worry lifting like mist under the morning sun. The man moved closer, his presence warm and vibrating with a gentle energy. "Faith is not about the absence of doubt, but about believing even when the clouds gather," he continued, his voice steady. "Your prayers are the seeds sown in the garden of hope, and they are destined to bloom." The murmur of agreement stirred within the church, an undercurrent of faith taking hold. Sarah felt a profound amazement wash over her, igniting a deeper understanding. What if this very moment was their turning point? Each heart seemed to thrum with potential, a collective heartbeat diving deeper into divine mysteries. Why must we face trials to see the miracles? Someone called out, a note of confusion in their voice. The man glanced around at the congregation, his eyes reflecting an eternal wisdom. Trials are the crucibles of faith, he replied. They refine, strengthen, and elevate your spirit. Without darkness, how would you recognize the light? A sigh of resolve swept through them, the truth resonating with undeniable clarity. It echoed in Sarah's heart, igniting a fire of purpose. She understood now that their struggles were stepping stones toward a miraculous breakthrough. Each challenge held the potential for transformation. Join me, the man beckoned, spreading his arms wide as if to embrace each person present. Let us pray together, each one of you pouring out your intentions. Speak your heart and let your spirits lift. An awe-inspiring hush enveloped the room. The congregation leaned forward, eager, ready to explore the depths of their own faith. Sarah took a deep breath and closed her eyes, sensing a surge of unity forming a web of purpose intricately woven by their voices. As they began to pray in unison, words of hope and healing intertwined. The energy crackled, a divine aroma of love and aspiration filling the air. Sarah felt herself transcend, her spirit soaring in communion with those around her. Suddenly, a soft glow lit the church, illuminating the faces of the hopeful. Eyes fluttered open, disbelief mixing with joy. As faith and expectation merged, a brilliant light danced from above, cascading down like a waterfall of grace. Was this the miracle they had been awaiting? The air felt alive with possibility, the atmosphere charged with sacred electricity. Each heartbeat resonated with love, and each breath spoke of miracles yet to unfold, but as quickly as the light appeared, it began to waver, pulling back as if beckoning a deeper understanding. Remember, the man said, his voice cutting through the shimmering silence, miracles begin not from the outside but from within. Trust in what you cannot yet see. With his final words echoing in the sacred space, an unmistakable chill brushed against their skin. Sarah's heart pounded with anticipation and trepidation. What awaited them behind this curtain of uncertainty? What was to be revealed? In the silence that followed, new thoughts ignited. What new wonders might they explore together on this path of faith? Would a deeper revelation lead them to a transformation they never imagined possible? The moment hung in the air, suspended like the glimmering light above. Sarah's heart raced as she felt the weight of possibility pressing into her soul. Around her, the congregation sat in stillness, their collective breath held, eyes wide with wonder. As the man watched over them, his gaze seemed to pierce through the layers of fear and doubt. What is hidden within you is ready to blossom, he urged, his voice rich with conviction. The miracles you seek are not distant dreams, they are the fruits of your faith, waiting to be picked. Intrigued murmurs rippled through the crowd. Sensing their growing anticipation, he leaned in a little closer. Every challenge you face is not just a hurdle but a divine invitation to awaken the strength that lies within. Do you see it? Suddenly, a soft voice piped up from the back, trembling yet bold. But how do we find that strength in our darkest hours? It was Mark, a gentle soul who faced too many hardships. His vulnerability resonated with many. The man smiled kindly. Ah, dear Mark, remember this, the darkest night will always yield to dawn. In those moments of struggle, prayer is your light. It is not merely a cry for help, it is a surrender to a loving presence that knows your path. As he spoke, Sarah felt the warmth of reassurance wrapping around her like a soft blanket. It dawned on her that perhaps it was more than about believing, it was about engaging, actively seeking, searching, and meditating upon the presence of the divine. Close your eyes, the man commanded softly, and without hesitation, the congregation obeyed. Picture a time when hope felt distant. Now, visualize that hope as a flickering candle, fragile yet powerful. Can you see it? A wave of silent concentration swept through the church. Sarah envisioned that candle, its flame dancing defiantly against the darkness. In this vision, she found not just fear but strength, the strength to keep the flame alive within her, to let it guide her. Now, Breathe deeply and whisper the promise of faith, he instructed. Let it rise up like incense, curling toward the heavens. Feel the connection. It is your lifeline, your grace. The air thickened with warmth and an electric hum of energy as they collectively inhaled, releasing their intentions into the atmosphere. Words of comfort and hope filled the sacred space. Heart and spirit stirred, igniting a fervent flame of devotion. Each whispered prayer seemed to touch the heavens, merging with the shimmering light that still danced overhead. Now, dear friends, the man said, his voice a soft thunder in the stillness. Open your eyes and feel the embrace of the miraculous. You have fanned the flames of faith, and it will not go unnoticed. As the congregation opened their eyes, gasps mingled with audible cries of joy. The light pulsed, brighter now, wrapping about them as if affirming their unity. But remember, he added, his tone shifting to one of gravity, miracles, though birthed in faith, require action. You are the light bearers. Go forth and share your flame. Sarah felt a stirring in her heart, an awakening. Could they truly bring forth miracles? Could their collective faith foster a new reality? Her mind raced with the implications of this powerful charge. Do not falter, he continued, weaving urgency into his words. The world is waiting. Your faith can break barriers and heal wounds. Can you not feel the call? As the atmosphere buzzed with hope, Sarah's spirit soared. She could sense the great adventure that lay ahead. But what would it demand from them? What truths might they uncover as they stepped bravely forward? The light above flickered once more, teasing them with the potential of what might come next. Would they rise to fulfill their calling? And what might they discover on this path of miracles awaiting their courageous hearts? As the murmurs of excitement ebbed, an unusual stillness settled within the church. All eyes were drawn back to the man, who stood as a vessel of divine light. He seemed to glow, an embodiment of the hope that had ignited within each heart. Sarah's breath quickened again as she realized they were on the precipice of something extraordinary. Look around you, he encouraged, gesturing at the faces surrounding them. Do you see your brothers and sisters? All gathered here, each is a flicker of light, part of a vast tapestry woven together by faith. Imagine what you can achieve together. His voice hung in the air, rich with possibility. The congregation shifted, as if a collective understanding began to dawn. Each individual flame could combine to illuminate the darkest places. Sarah felt the call to unity. What if each of them chose to act on their faith? What miracles could emerge from their entwined hearts? It was a resonating question that sent ripples through her spirit. Each of you has a story, the man continued. Your struggles and victories are meant to be shared. When you incorporate these into your lives, you weave tales of triumph that can bolster others' faith. It's a collective journey, one that calls for vulnerability. Will you share your light? Mark, emboldened by the faith that had filled the room, stood once more. My story is hard. I've been lost. I've felt abandoned. But hearing you, I want to share. I've seen where pain can lead when it is transformed into purpose. There was a weight in his words, a raw honesty that set the tone for vulnerability. As he spoke, hands began to rise across the room. One person after another shared snippets of their journeys, pieces of their lives woven in a powerful symphony of human experience. Each testimony invoked tears, laughter, and deep connection. Sarah felt her heart swelling. Their openness created a space of grace, and the energy within the church surged. Feel this, my friends. The man asserted, almost as if he aimed to capture the energy drifting through the room. This is what divine connection looks like. The truth shared in love, the embrace of vulnerability. It fuels the miraculous. And remember, each testimony acts like seed. When you plant them in faith, they bear fruit. Are you willing to nurture this together? His eyes sparkled, daring them, inviting them into deeper waters. Sarah nodded silently, feeling the pull of the challenge grasp her heart. They were at a juncture, a decision point. Listen closer, the man said, lowering his voice as if sharing a sacred secret. Miracles often contain hidden truths. The moment you share your flame, you invite others to find theirs. You unleash a cascade of light, illuminating even the darkest path. What is your divine truth that needs telling? The room fell into a hush. Sarah felt a stirring within, a yearning to speak her truth, to declare all that she had hidden away. The life she'd experienced with its valleys and peaks had been a testament to grace herself. Sometimes, however, we fear rejection, he acknowledged, a knowing look sweeping over them. But know this, being vulnerable can spark transformation. What seems like failure may well be the divine groundwork for growth. Emotion washed over Sarah, tears glistening in her eyes. Courage bubbled up, she could feel it begging to surface. In this gathering of faith, it became clear, their collective strength was waiting to break through the barriers. And then it happened, a ripple of realization swept through her, almost tangible. What if this moment was just the beginning? Would they embolden themselves to share their truths in bold strokes or retreat into silence once more? Together, the man repeated, the warmth of his conviction wrapping around them, you can manifest the miraculous. She understood now, the light above wasn't just an invitation but a call to action. They were the light bearers, the storytellers shaping the narrative of grace. As the atmosphere surged with anticipation, Sarah knew they stood on the brink of revelation. What would this awakening lead them to? What divine mysteries awaited, just on the other side of the horizon? Her heart raced again with the thrill of what was to come. The path was clear, yet tantalizingly obscured. Would they step forward, embracing the miraculous unfolding before them? The tension in the air thickened as a stillness enveloped the church. Sarah's heart beat with a wild rhythm, echoing the anticipation that flickered in every soul present. She gazed deeply into the faces around her, faces of yearning, of hope, waiting to take their part in this divine mosaic. Each expression mirrored the desire for connection, for purpose, for a chance to be seen and heard. The man's eyes glimmered with divine fervor. Now, my friends, he began, his voice steady, is the time to step into your truth. Do not hold back. Each story shared will send ripples of light into the world beyond these walls. He stepped closer, a presence commanding yet inviting, almost magnetic. With a shudder of courage, Sarah rose from her seat, her hands trembling slightly. Every breath felt momentous, each pulse a wave crashing against the shores of her fears. Her voice wavered but then found strength. I was once like a flicker in the shadows, unsure and afraid. I faced my own valleys, the loss, the confusion, the days when faith felt like fiction. But the light you speak of? It found me when I least expected it. As she spoke, the room shifted again, leaning closer in anticipation. Some faces lit up with recognition, while others reflected a deep resonance with her journey. A warmth grew. It was as if Sarah's words stoked the flames within her comrades, their flickers brightening into a blaze. The man nodded approvingly, urging others to join. You see? Here in this sanctuary, we're not merely listeners. We are a communion of warriors, crafting our narratives crafted with sweat and tears. He gestured for others to stand. One by one, they rose. Each revelation unlocked fresh currents of energy, flowing through the collective heart of the congregation. I battled addiction, proclaimed a woman, her voice steady yet quaking. But through love and faith, I found return. The audience erupted in supportive murmurs, the sharing morphing into a powerful embrace of shared humanity. I had no home, another voice rang out beside her. But love led me to a family I never dreamed possible. As stories unfolded, a honeyed synergy melted away doubt and fear, knitting together a vibrant community. The air thickened with promise, a sacred atmosphere charged with the acknowledgement of shared struggles and divine healing. Look at what you are creating. The man's enthusiasm electrified the air. In your openness, you are revealing a new layer of the miraculous. You are sowing seeds of hope. Each story you share pulls together strands of faith, a fabric that has the potential to cover entire lives. Tears flowed freely as the congregation welcomed this new reality. They were not alone, and unity blossomed where isolation had once held sway. A divine orchestration was emerging. Sarah stood steady, her heart thrumming with the collective faith around her. The man caught her eye, a knowing smile shared between them. She felt seen, cherished, a unique note in a grand symphony of faith. Now listen closely. The man's voice softened, its reverberation pulling them in. There comes a moment when you realize that together, you are a collective voice. This is where the miraculous begins. But you must continue to speak, continually nourish these seeds. What else can you share? What divine truth is yet to be declared? Sarah felt the weight of the question hang in the air, filled with possibility and urgency. What more could they bring forth in faith? The moment pressed against her heart, she felt the stirring of something profound. Would they compel one another further down the path of transformation, or slip back into silence? As hearts brimmed with anticipation, laughter mingled with tears, and light shimmered like a promise. They stood at a threshold, ready to charge forth, prepared for what would come next. Would they unearth deeper truths waiting to be revealed? What divine secrets still lay hidden in their stories, waiting for the right moment to explode into life? As the congregation sat in sacred stillness, a hum of expectation buzzed in the air. Sarah felt it, an impulse weaving through them all, urging them toward the extraordinary. They had gathered not just to share their struggles but to illuminate a path. The man before them, the embodiment of hope, stood poised to guide them further. Now, dear friends, he encouraged, voice steady yet vibrant, let this be an awakening. Every life has a story to tell, a miracle waiting to be unwrapped and shared. What if today we opened our hearts wider than ever? A wave of silence swept over them, charged with anticipation. Faces brightened, revealing sparks of courage hidden beneath their vulnerabilities. Sarah's heart raced. She felt an ancient pull guide her forward. They were on the brink of something monumental. Together. She began, her voice unsteady at first, but catching fire with conviction. We can harness these moments of revelation to ignite faith not only in ourselves but in everyone we touch. This is our chance to cultivate hope. A ripple of energy flowed through the audience, until a familiar face lifted, a beloved elder named Grace, her smile soft yet resolute. I wrote a poem during the vigil, she breathed, joy bubbling in her voice. If love can conquer our deepest fears, then together we can manifest miracles. Eager murmurs spread as Grace stood, her gentle spirit radiating warmth. Sometimes we overlook the tiniest of miracles, those moments of kindness, of connection, of shared laughter. They are all part of the divine narrative. Let me share. As she recited her heartfelt words, the room transformed, resonating with the rhythm of belief. Each stanza amplified the light around them, capturing the essence of faith and the miracles buried within everyday life. As she finished, a wave of applause erupted, igniting a chorus of encouragement. One by one, others stood, voices rising in harmony to tell their stories, of love rekindled, of lost dreams restored, of community forged amidst adversity. Tears flowed, laughter erupted, and every word layered a vibrant tapestry of testimonials, a testament to their strength and resilience. Sarah knelt, hands clasped, overwhelmed by gratitude. The atmosphere thrummed with electric anticipation, each testimony planting seeds in the fertile ground of faith, promising the bloom of a miraculous harvest. Then the man stepped forward, positioning himself as a grounding force. Every sacred moment shared is like a candle lighting the way for others. See how your collective light brightens the path. Imagine the impact of this community, people wise and brave enough to share their truths. Sarah's heart surged with excitement. She knew this was only the beginning, they were each a part of a greater calling. Just think, she exclaimed, what if our stories could reach those outside these walls? What if we harness this miracle and take it into our world? The man nodded, strengthening her resolve. Yes. The divine does not reside only in this sanctuary, it thrives anywhere hope is nurtured. You have power. Your testimony is a tool forged in faith, wield it wisely. Quiet contemplation settled in, as Sarah gazed into the faces of her neighbors, seeing their flickering light growing brighter. Each heartbeat pulsed in unison, a sacred sound echoing with affirmations of growth and interconnectedness. In that pinnacle moment, a young girl burst forth, her innocence breaking the quietude. Can I share my story? She asked, her voice ringing clear and true. The congregation turned, entranced by the courage shimmering within her. What have you seen, dear one? The man gently asked, kneeling to her level, inviting her voice to bloom. I've prayed for my brother, too, the girl declared, confidence resonating. And when we come together like this, I can feel the love reach him, like magic. In that instant, Sarah was struck by profound revelation. This simplicity, this purity of faith was the heart of it all, love woven together, transcending beyond themselves. Yes, Sarah echoed, standing taller. Love is the greatest miracle of all. It's how we inspire, how we reach beyond our pain and illuminate each other's paths. The light above pulsed, brightening the space like heavenly confirmation. The man raised his arms high, enveloping the gathering in grace. Feel it. The miracles unfold when you unite your stories, casting light upon shadows. Your journey does not end here. Trust that every challenge is a part of this divine framework. With each heartbeat, they bonded tighter, hands grasped, eyes locked, fervent promises exchanged. This wasn't just community, it was family, united by faith and the courage to stand as one. In the days, weeks, and months to come, they would carry their stories beyond the church walls, spreading their light to the wider world. Each act of kindness would become a ripple, creating waves in their village and beyond. As gratitude surged through her, Sarah understood that the miraculous was not found solely in grand gestures, but in the small, tender acts of love displayed daily. No longer would they retreat into silence, they would forge forward, illuminated by their experiences and united in faith. Together, they took a step into the dawn, a vivid testament to the promise that miracles exist within every heart that is open to love. As the congregation departed, radiant and revitalized, one truth remained radiant: they were, indeed, the bearers of miracles. And as they stepped into the world, Sarah clutched her prayer book close, feeling as if she was cradling a lantern, lighting the way for many more journeys yet to come. And now, dear friends, as you journey with us through these sacred tales, remember, this is the moment to engage. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive faith stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm, it truly makes a difference. Comment your reactions and testimonies about this beautiful ending, share your light. And share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this manifestation. Do not wait even one more second. True servants of God understand the importance of lifting each other in this divine journey.